Hey, welcome back to the food forest. I kind of woke up early today so I could go out and start picking while it's nice and cool outside. I have to make sure that I get as much of my food as possible. I use all of this stuff in flavoring for a second ferment for kombucha. I use it as just clean, healthy, nutritious snacks for the kids. We freeze them, we put them in smoothies, use them in ice cream. Ice cream's kind of like my little vice. But I want to go out and get as much as I can, and I'm going to go get the currants now, so I got a nice big bucket. Now, why am I telling you all this? Because when I was picking these, I actually realized I did something really smart accidentally, and I want to share that with you. Okay, so another thing is, while I'm out in one area, I'm going to show you an update of my tree time food forest planting, because someone asked for an update of that. So stick around for that as well. We'll show you how some of those plants are doing when we get down there. One of the things that I'm doing is spreading out the raspberries in a bunch of different locations. So we've got raspberries all through this little crazy guild here. You maybe can't see them. There's a couple red berries back here. So we've got a ton of them added in here. We also have a bunch added down in here. And one of the things that you really want to do with your raspberries is have multiple varieties planted in one area. We actually have 4 varieties in this little patch. Now, I think one of them is not doing very well. It's kind of getting taken over by others. But the more varieties you have in an area, you'll actually get bigger raspberries. And this goes for most fruit that you plant. The more varieties you have, you might have your favorite fruit. Like for me, it's like a Borealis Haskap, but I'll only get really, really large Borealis Haskaps if I have others as well to cross-pollinate with them. Now, the raspberry areas in this first area that I showed you are kind of about medium sun. They get shaded a little bit from the house in the morning and shaded from the peaches as well as the cedars. So they get somewhat early sun. They're in about medium sun. The raspberries that I just showed you in that other, 4 variety guild get quite a bit of shade, and they're just starting to produce now. So here we are in the annual garden, and it's a little bit wild and crazy. We do have perennials in there like the raspberries. So this is actually almost a completely full sun location. That's why we put the annual garden here. And having raspberries here, these are the ones that we really started picking at the beginning of the year. There's still a couple left there, you can see. But we really started picking these maybe a month ago, and they're just finishing up. Now, spinning completely, we've got the annual garden beds there. And we've got some more raspberries snuck into here. This is almost full shade because this is actually on the north side of this guild. And these ones here have only started producing just recently. These ones are the ones that I'll typically pick on my way to the chickens. Coming back around, we've got raspberries all around in the corner of this, and on this side we've got full sun. So on this side here, we've actually been picking raspberries for about a month and a half, whereas the ones on the north side of this guild only just recently started producing. Turning further, we've got our grape trellis. Look at this thing. Isn't this beautiful? And on the back side of this, we've got another south-facing raspberry guild. You can see I really plant things that do well. These are the ones that creep into the chickens so that they can get some wonderful healthy food and fruit. And look at this beautiful moth landing on the black walnut. So this is a south-facing guild that produces very early on, and it's just finishing up. Rotating further, coming towards the bees, we've got more raspberries here. This is just to the north of this existing forest here. And these ones here are just starting to bloom, but as you can kind of see, this is the last year for these ones. I came in and picked all of these just recently. I didn't get them all. I must have missed this bush. I don't know how I missed this bush. But we've got a ton over here on this side as well. So we've got all these locations of food where I've planted them out in different areas, and little scatterbrain Keith actually benefits from this because I've actually extended the season for picking my raspberries because we've got them in so many different little microclimates around the property. Now we come up to the pond and we're gonna head down to Old Man Walking Trail. Now in the lower area, this is where the Paw Paws are. I'll show you a little bit of an update, but we've added in a whole bunch of cherries, we've added in pecans, hazelnuts, and lots of raspberries. When I came down here this morning to check on the Paw Paws, I realized that this whole entire area was loaded with raspberries, and I filled the bucket that I showed you at the beginning of the video with the raspberries from down here. So you can also see I came down here and I've been doing a little bit of chop and drop cleanup to make sure that the plants that I planted, so we got dog strangling vine climbing up some of our plants. I'm trying to get all the dog strangling vine before it goes to seed. So it's still just flowering here. I want to get it before it puts on seed heads. So I've been going around and I've been stomping down and clearing around things like our cherry trees just to make sure that they're getting the sun that they need. And I was doing that as I was harvesting the raspberries from here, being careful where I stepped and just stomping over and crushing down some of the other plants. So here's the Paw Paws. You can see that they're starting to sucker and run. So we've got Paw Paw sucker here. We've got a sucker here. So these are actually starting to put out some new Paw Paws. I can come down and cut some of these out and replant them, or I can just let this turn into a Paw Paw thicket. So I wanted to see updates on the Paw Paws, so we do still have them. There's a couple on this tree here. Popping over to this one. We've got a bunch on this one. So we've got two here. And we've got a couple here. We've got a big old fat boy in the back there hanging down. You see him. And over here we've got a little cluster there. And got one in the back somewhere. I can't remember where that one is. Oh, and this one here, we actually have some more here. Now this one had 5, and I actually manually pruned 2 of them off because I want to make sure that this branch can support them. This is probably already too much for this branch, but we'll leave that for now and we'll see how that goes. And then we got under the apple trees here, and now we're getting closer to the creek. We have a bunch more raspberries in here. You can see a big ape walk through here harvesting a ton of them and clearing up space and light for some of the you know, slower growing perennial trees in here. So that's a general update of this lower area here. It looks like the cherries are doing really well, and the pecans are doing well. But the main message for this video, and the one thing that I really wanted you know, to get across and for people to take out and internalize, is to make sure that when you're planting out food, that you're planting a diversity of varieties don't just say, hey, what's your favorite variety? And then plant that. You have to do your best at planting multiple varieties. They'll boost up the other varieties that you also want to plant. So make sure you're doing that. Plant lots and lots of varieties. And then plant them, if you can, in different locations and microclimates on your property. And this will help you season extend your harvest of that fruit. You have a diversity of fruit, plus then you have a diversity of areas that you're planting it, then you're going to have a really, really wide harvest season. You're not going to get overwhelmed as much. And that way you're eating all year long, you're getting the biggest fruit that you can possibly get, and you're also benefiting nature by having as many flowering plants out for as long as possible. You're really extending that bloom window. So, just some tips. Hope you enjoyed this one. Just a nice quickie, and I'll see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.